Hey Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Today is January 13th, 2016. One of the headlines today is that a former NFL player was found dead in his prison cell. This player is Lawrence Phillips, drafted in 1996 by the St. Louis Rams, who announced yesterday that they're moving back to California, to Los Angeles. Lawrence Phillips, who was found dead in his cell, finished his career with the San Francisco 49ers, who are hosting this year's Super Bowl 50. As I routinely say, the tyrants who rule these leagues, not only do they rig the games, wasting their fans and everyone else's time, they also murder their athletes in ritualistic practice, especially around big games. This is true in the NFL, the NBA, the MLB. I've documented many of these occurrences on this video channel and my written blog. In this post, I want to show you all that's suspicious about Lawrence Phillips' death. There needs to be justice for these murders. Lots of people are also in prison who don't belong there, falsely accused, having their lives wasted, while the real villains sit on the outside. You listen to the voice of somebody who's probably going to end up back in a jail cell just for telling the truth. I've already been there once in the last year, arrested in my own front yard. All for telling the truth, truth seeker. You know? We need to get rid of these jails and prisons. We don't need jails and prisons in this world. We need better people, better morals. Most people in prison aren't that bad. They're there for a reason. Born into the wrong circumstance. Taken advantage of by a nasty system. Anyhow, Lawrence Phillips dies this morning, a date with 50 numerology, likely the first sacrifice for Super Bowl 50, unless I've missed one already. Today's date numerology 50. It's also a date with a life lesson number of 23. 23 is interesting because the number 83 is the 23rd prime number. Football equals 83, first Super Bowl on a date with 83 numerology. The name Lawrence Phillips also equals 83. Date with 14 numerology, the word dead equals 14. Date with 30 numerology, he died at age 40. If you write out 40 as a word, it has gematria of 30. Sometimes these things can be coincidence. I just like to document. Show the synchronicity. Here's what the mainstream reporting says. Lawrence Phillips, an imprisoned former NFL running back who was awaiting trial on charges of killing his cellmates last year, died Wednesday morning after being found unresponsive in his prison cell, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation said. The death of Phillips, 40, is being investigated as a suicide, the department said. Phillips was a star running back at Nebraska and a first-round pick for the St. Louis Rams in 1996, but lasted in the NFL only 3 seasons. He was sent to California prison in 2008 after being convicted of a domestic violence, false imprisonment, and vehicle theft charge. While serving a 31-year sentence, authorities say he killed his cellmate in April of last year. A trial for that killing was anticipated in Kern County, California. So the trial hasn't even happened. I'm going to show you what's oh so suspicious about the death of his cellmate, which he's blamed for. Something I think he was framed for. Being drafted in the year 96, though, that might also be part of the reason he was sacrificed. Freemason equals 96, a very special number to the Freemason tyrants who rule by the numbers and sacrifice by the numbers. As for being drafted by Nebraska, some interesting things here. Nebraska has gematria of all these numbers you see. It's because they have S and K in their name, which creates exceptions. 44, though, is the kill number. Oftentimes, when you have a 44 coded on you, it connects to death. Little Rock, where he was born, also has the gematria of 44. 44 and 71 are numbers that connect to 144, another number of assassination, which we're going to talk more about, which also factors into his death as well. As for Nebraska and 26, I just want to drop some knowledge. 26 is the God number. The word God equals 26. The English alphabet's 26 letters. Very special number in gematria. The shape of the football is based on the Vesica Piscis, a very spiritual symbol. Freemasons created football. They made the football the shape it is because of this study of numerology and gematria, as hard as that might be for some of you to believe. This is a spiritual symbol, a symbol connected to the number 26. We had David Bowie announce his death the other day after his 26th studio album, where he put out a music video imitating Lazarus having gematria of 26, just like God. The story of Lazarus is a story of being risen from the dead. His music video came out 4 days before his death date. All this stuff is Masonic. Faking deaths, murdering people, rigging news, rigging sports. Might be a lot to take on, but if you invest the time and you come to understand, you see this is what's going on in the world you live in. Freemasons pulling the strings on a lot of things. David Bowie dies at age 69, the astrological symbol for cancer. Supposedly he dies from cancer. The words cancer, chemo, and kill all have gematria of 44, the kill number. Anyhow, Phillips was found unresponsive at 12:05 a.m. in his jail cell at the Kern Valley State Prison. Authorities said he was taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead at 1:27 a.m. The Corrections Department didn't say what led investigators to believe he committed suicide. So they're accusing him of committing suicide. Here's another man likely murdered and blamed falsely for committing suicide. As for dying at 1:27 in the morning, that's the 87th minute of the day. Justice equals 87. Punish equals 87. Truth equals 87. He died 120 days before his 41st birthday. The truth equals 120. Could be a coincidence, but oftentimes the deaths are synced up with the birthdays. Here's his name gematria. He's got the 83 number. Football equals 83. He has name gematria of 106 as well. If you followed my work on the playoffs this far, 106 has been a very important number in the playoffs. Phillips, a name with 47 gematria, the first Super Bowl in the 47th year of the NFL. His initials have gematria of 40, dead at 40. Some things can be a coincidence. So here's some more. The month before Lawrence Phillips allegedly murdered his cellmate at Kern Valley State Prison, he wrote a letter to his mother saying he thought his anger might lead to his death or someone else's death. Remember, he was about to go on trial for this murder charge. I feel myself very close to snapping, wrote Phillips, the former star running back, in a letter dated March 5th, 2015. That's a date with 23 numerology. Remember, he died on a date with a life lesson number 23. 83, the 23rd prime. And as we read this, keep in mind this is coming from the mainstream media, which is involved in deception. We don't even know that any of this writing is true. This could all be contrived hearsay. But we'll just follow it anyway. My anger grows daily as I have become fed up with prison. I feel my anger is near bursting and that will result in my death or death of someone else. Understandable. This is what happens to men when they're locked in a cage with other men. Prison, jail, one of the most inhumane things on this planet, and we live in a world where prisons and jails are built at a greater rate than schools. Something true since I was a child. Something that hasn't changed. That's why they give us these sports games, so we don't pay attention to reality, the real world we live in. In the same letter, a copy of which was obtained by USA Today, Sports from Phillips' mother, Philip expressed disgust for the legal system and wrote, "These people are obviously working against me with no regard to the law and will never let me leave prison alive." On April 11th, Philip's cellmate, Damian Soward, age 37, was found unresponsive inside the cell the two men were sharing. Prison officials discovered Soward's body at 12:36 a.m. after a guard heard Phillips yell, "Man down," according to a copy of the incident report obtained by USA Today. So notice the date April 11th, Truth Seeker. The word assassin equals 411, having to do with killing JFK shot from 411 Elm Street. The date that his roommate died on has numerology of 50, 23, 14, and 30. Those are the exact numbers he just died by. 50, 23, 14, and 30. A perfect match. Isn't that suspicious? Here I'm educating about killing by the numbers and how often it happens to celebrities. Look at this. Kern Valley State Prison has gematria of 92. The deaths of the two men come 9 months and 2 days apart in Kern Valley State Prison. The man who died was named Damien Soward, having name gematria of 55. The word sacrifice equals 46 and 55. They said he was age 37. Prison equals 37. Yours truly was arrested falsely in his front yard on March 7th, 3/7. You know why? Again, because I've been telling the truth, exposing the police, exposing the Freemasons, exposing the tyrants of this world who keep giving us these stories. Prison officials removed Phillips from the cell and later found suspected blood on Soward Phillips' t-shirt and several items in the cell. Very easy to falsify this evidence, which it likely was, according to the incident report. Yeah, probably according to the guy who actually did the murdering and wrote it up. Does anybody know prison guards? I know some. They are the biggest fucking filth I've ever met in my life. You meet a prison guard, you will meet someone who will fucking disgust you. How do I know prison guards? From umpiring softball for a number of years. There's a number of prison guard league teams. They're always the worst fucking human beings you will ever meet. On September 1st, Phillips, 40, was charged with first-degree murder and is scheduled to be arraigned on Tuesday at Kern County Superior Court in Bakersfield, California. Phillips, who starred at Nebraska's national championship team in 94 and 95, was a first-round NFL draft pick in 96 and played 3 seasons in the league. He faces up to life in prison and no less than 25 years in prison to top his current 31-year sentence for assaulting a former girlfriend and driving his cars into 3 teenagers. Notice that sums to 56. The name Phillips has gematria of 47 and 56. Masonic police, Masonic judges, they sentence by the numbers. Don't kid yourself. That came on September 1st. Date with 45 numerology. Notice the mention of the college national championship, which was just won earlier this week with 45 points. For Coach Nicholas, when the name Nicholas equals 45. Also a date with 25 numerology, 25 more years on top of his sentence. From the date the other man was murdered until the day of this sentence, a span of 144 days. Remember I talked about in the beginning how 44 and 71 connect to this? I know it's a lot of numbers, Truth Seeker, but look, they put the number right here in the article. Gang culture and prison crowding contribute to inmate-on-inmate homicide in California, where the incidence rate of such deaths is double that of the national average. According to a government report released in July, between 2006 and 2014, 144 inmates in California were murdered by other inmates, according to the report titled Analysis of 2014 Inmate Death Reviews. This is a number of killing. I wonder how many of these people were actually killed by the guards. Probably the vast majority. Anyhow, Truth Seeker, more writing. He complains, Phillips, about how he's been moved 16 times, relocated within the prison since he was first sentenced. 16, a special number. Remember, the national championship was just won, the 16th one for Alabama in the beginning of 16. 16, this special gematria connecting back to the Freemasons. Again, who knows if Phillips even wrote this? He finished his career on the 49ers, who are hosting Super Bowl 50 in California. He was killed in California. He wore the number 33, a number of sacrifice. San Francisco hosting Super Bowl 50. Phillips, 47. First Super Bowl in the 47th season. You know who else might die soon, Truth Seeker? John Madden. John Madden's ripe for it. Look at his birth numerology. Some numbers. Life lesson number of 33. Birth numerology of 50 for Super Bowl 50. He's currently 79 years old. The word murder equals 79. Began his career in 58 like Freemasonry. John Madden equals 88 like California and Francisco. So watch your back, John Madden. And a whole bunch of other people, Truth Seeker. There's going to be a lot more deaths related to the Super Bowl before it happens and after it happens. Just like there's a bunch for the NBA Finals and the World Series. Until next time.